Yeah, sorry, there was a connectivity problem. So, sailing to Byzantium, this poem was written at a time when the poet was an old man. Okay, he had already grown old, and this entire poem focuses on old age, old civilization, old culture. Okay, so W.B. Yeats, as a modernist poet, has written the poem with the great usage of symbols and images. Okay, because symbolism was a very much an oft used literary device, poetic device in the modernist era. So he uses various symbols and images, the most primary of which is the image of Byzantium, the city of Byzantium. So what is Byzantium? Byzantium is the name of an ancient city from Greece, okay, from the Greek civilization. Byzantium was very much remarkable during the ancient times because of its rich cultural heritage, its rich civilization, its monuments, jewelries, historical sites, and all. So, in this poem, it says that now the young people, the young generation has forgotten their rich cultural heritage, their historical heritage, and this the poet is trying to portray, trying to represent through the image of Byzantium, the ancient Greece city, city of Greece. Okay, so let us see how he talks about the old age, the old history, the old civilization in the form of Byzantium. So, in the very first line, Yeats says, it is no country for old men. Means Yeats, as I said, is writing this poem as an old man. He has grown old, and he says that is not a country for old men. He is disappointed by the behavior of the young generation, how the young people, the young generation has forgotten its rich cultural heritage. Okay, and Byzantium is one such forgotten civilization, one such forgotten rich city of the Greek mythology, of the Greek history, which the young people should have remembered, but they have forgotten. Some critics have said that Yeats was on a visit to a museum in England, okay, and there he saw some very rich jewelries and the clothes, the dresses of the kings and queens of Byzantium, and that inspired him to write the poem on Byzantium and its forgotten heritage. So he says that is not a country for old men, the young in one another's arms, the birds and the trees. So he is saying that the young people are busy with themselves, they are roaming around arms in arms, they are busy in their own things, their own relationships, their own friendship, and they don't find the old people fit for any kind of companionship or friendship. Okay, and so the young people are roaming around with their hands in hands with one another arms, together, and nobody cares about the old man. Remember, old man here is literal. Yes, that the young people have forgotten, the young generation have forgotten the old generation, but old men, this it also symbolizes the old civilization, the old ancient city of Byzantium, which is so very much valuable but has been forgotten by the young generation, by the people of the young generation. Now, see this, caught in that sensual music, all neglect, monuments of unaging intellect. These two are one of the most oft quoted lines in English literature. Okay? You must remember and try to quote them while writing the answers. What in that sensual music means the young generation, the young civilization, the young institutions, they are so much caught, means they are so much, they are so much busy with their own lives in new inventions, in new scientific inventions, in technology, and all these things, that they have forgotten the unaging intellect. Unaging means something that does not get old. Okay? Unaging intellect means the young people have forgotten something that was immortal, that could have never died, that should have lived forever. And what is that? That is the unaging civilization, the unaging memory, the remembrance of the Byzantium civilization. Okay, the history, the rich cultural history of the ancient Byzantium. Remember, again, I'm telling, Byzantium is just a symbol for the old civilization, for the old heritage. Okay? And therefore, he says that that was the unaging thing. What the young people are doing nowadays, all these, political, so-called political uprisings, the all the worldly kinds of things that the young people are doing, their companionship, their friendship, they're of no use. Why? Because they will die one day. The people will die, and all these things will be vanished. But what will remain is the memory, the remembrance, the preservation of the the rich cultural heritage. Okay, the age old heritage, if we preserve them in museums, if we remember them, we acknowledge them, we appreciate them, the art. Okay, remember, you can compare this poem with John Keats' poem Endymion, where John Keats says, write down the lines I'm saying: a thing of beauty, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. So in that poem, John Keats, Keats, the romantic poet, okay, he says that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Okay, means it never dies, it is immortal. A thing of beauty is something like the rich history, our rich culture, our rich civilization, the great people who passed away, who made a change in the world, the great philosophers, great poets. These are the people who never die. They may die physically, but they will never die from the world, because we will keep on reading them, and they are unaging, they are immortal, they are so beautiful. The beauty of their philosophy, the beauty of their brains, the beauty of their imagination, the beauty of the monuments that some of them constructed and created, right? These will remain forever. They're unaging, they're immortal. People will die, but they will remain forever in the memory, in the preservation, on the pages of history. So remember John Keats's lines: "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." It will keep on giving joy to the people. Okay. Remember, today we as students and teachers are reading these poets. Why? Because it gives us these poets are giving us joy out of reading them. They have died physically, but the memory is there. So coming back to W.B. Yeats, this modernist poet also says the same thing. It was the city of Byzantium, the rich culture of Byzantium, because of which we can say that something is immortal. There is something in the world which never dies. The plants, trees, they all die, they take rebirth, new plants come, people die, new people come in the world. But the unaging intellect, the memory that is there in the world, which passes from generation to generation, keeps on going and going, like a beauty which keeps on giving us joy. But it is very sad that W.B. Yeats is saying that the young people have forgotten that. They should have remembered this. Now come to the second point. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick. He is now again lamenting. Remember, in the first line of the first part, there is no country for old men. He referred to the old man and their problems, their predicament, how they are ignored by the young people. In the second stanza also, he again remembers the old men, how they are so weak, they're paltry thing. An aged man is a paltry thing. He is weak, a kind of somewhat useless, considered useless, not actually useless kind of a person, tattered, uh, a, a tattered coat upon a stick. He is so lean and thin, that his body is so weak that it has become like a stick. He is so thin, and when he wears a coat, it just seems that you are hanging a coat upon a stick because of the physical weakness, because of the thinning of the body of the old man. Okay, okay. So it is a kind of symbol. Remember, I told you about symbolism. A tattered coat is a symbol of the declining, of the decaying, of the weakness of the old man, of the old civilization. They are not weak because of their physical weakness. They are weak because of the young people's negligence, young people's avoidance. They have avoided the old generation, and that is why they are feeling weak. Okay, they are feeling like a tattered coat, means an old torn coat. Okay, this is how the old man is feeling, how Yeats is feeling as an old man. So here one thing becomes very important: poetic revival. Write down poetic, Poecit, poetic revival, Poecit, poetic revival, Revival, V for Venus, E, sorry, Revival, revival. Poetic revival means rebirth, regeneration. Okay, so it says that there should be a poetic revival, and throughout his life as a poet, it's okay. I'm so sorry, there was someone. Yeats had a philosophy of poetic revival. He wanted the entire poetry of his country, that is Ireland. He was an Irish poet from Ireland. So he had a philosophy that the poetry should go through a revival, it should go through a regeneration, a newness, a rebirth. Okay, and just like poetry, the entire civilization should go through a rebirth or regeneration, because Ireland at that point of time was under British rule. So the British colonizers had made the entire country of Ireland into a country, just like it was a colonized country, just like India. Okay, so Ireland became a country of ruled by the external power of Britishers. So the Irish artists, the common men and women, the children could not live their life on their own terms. That is why it talks about poetic revival or the cultural revival, that the English people should go out, they should leave the country, they should no longer colonize, and they should leave the capturization of the country, and the Irish people should be allowed to live freely. Their mind should be free to create anything, to write anything in the form of poetry, to speak anything. There should be freedom of expression. Okay, this is why it talks about poetic revival or cultural revival throughout his lives. Okay, throughout his life. And here also he is lamenting that the people have become so old mentally, physically. Okay, because the young generation, especially the young generation which has created colonization, things like colonization, the British occupation, Britishers coming and occupying, French coming and occupying different places. Okay, now this is very important. Unless soul clap its hand and sing a louder sing. He says, an aged man is a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick. He is very old and dying. But once the soul, the inner spirit, okay, the inner soul comes out, claps its hand and sing. Means once your inner soul, the inner soul of a culture which is dying, once the inner soul of a poet comes out or an artist comes out, when the artist starts thinking, it starts imagining new things, at that point of time what happens, that the soul, the inner psychology of the poet or the artist is creating a rebirth. It has been reborn, and it is at that point of time that a person does not remain a paltry thing or an old man. He takes a rebirth mentally through his imagination. And same is the case with any culture or civilization. When you remember a culture, for example, if you remember the Taj Mahal, then what happens that it comes as a beautiful picture in your mind. But when you forget it, what okay it is, nobody remembers at that point of time the importance of it. But when you remember, it takes a rebirth. Old civilization, the old monument, okay? So it is very important for the mind to have a newness, for the soul to have a regeneration. Monuments of its own magnificence, and therefore I have sailed the seas to come to the holy city of Byzantium. Now, this is very important. The poet is saying, I have sailed, means I have crossed seas, okay? सात समंदर पार, okay? The concept कि सात समंदर पार करके यहाँ आया हूँ. It does not mean that the poet Yeats is traveling to the city of Byzantium. No, Byzantium was an old city, ancient city. But he means that with great labor, with great work, I am able to bring the memory of Byzantium back in my mind. Okay, it's not that he has sailed the seven seas and he has traveled to Greece. No, he's not traveling to Greece, but it means that he is bringing the memory back in his mind. Okay, this is what it means. The holy and come to the holy city of Byzantium, not physically but mentally. Okay, he is remembering the city of Byzantium, and therefore he is saying that I have sailed the seas. Means uh, I have taken lots of pain, I have taken lots of imagination. It took me lots of creativity to remember the city of Byzantium, right? So did you understand this one? To the holy city of Byzantium, this line, these two lines are very
Yes,
important.
ma'am.
Okay, these two lines. So, okay, what does it mean by I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium? What is the poet trying to say
सात
here?
समुद्र पार कर.
Okay, and
That's like he has passed a very long. I'm sorry, ma'am. He has passed 1,000 miles to come in the holy city, because he thinks that it's a monument of the significance. It can purify his soul.
okay, but at the same time, I said that he has not physically traveled the miles. Okay, he has not physically traveled, he has only created a rebirth in his mind. He is remembering the city of Byzantium. Okay, this is not, he's not talking about his physical
Okay,
travel,
ma'am.
he is talking about the imagination. Like
Okay, ma'am.
you travel a long way, when you travel miles to reach a place, what happens? You get tired, you have to do lots of work in order to travel, right? So he has done lots of work in order to bring the imagination, in order to think, in order to bring that creativity about Byzantium in his mind. Getting the point? So it is
Yes, ma'am. It's
symbolic.
called materialistic.
Mental travel, yeah. Okay, so I said that the modern poets used the device of symbolism. So as a modernist poet, Keats is using the device of symbolism to create a scene where he says that it is in my imagination that I have traveled Byzantium, I have brought Byzantium back in my mind and creativity, because other young people have forgotten it. Okay. Okay, now this fourth part, and this is the last part of the poem. Here he says that um, Byzantium city should be remembered because it was a powerful civilization. Why? Because in that city, even a common man, a jeweler, okay, jeweler or a goldsmith. Remember, see here, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make, the third line, of hammered gold and gold enameling, means the jewelries that the goldsmiths used to make, they were so powerful, they were so creatively beautiful. They had the power to catch the eyes, to catch the glance of not only just common people like you and me, but they had the power to keep the emperor awake. See this line, to keep a drowsy emperor awake. What is drowsy? Drowsy,
Draw
drowsy,
down.
to keep a drowsy emperor awake.
It means down, ma'am.
Sharmin, read this line.
Yeah, to keep a drowsy emperor awake.
Yeah, so what is the meaning of this line?
Um, just a minute,
See,
man. I'm saying to it. I'm trying to get it. Yeah. Um, for awaking the emperor, it. Ma'am, I'm not able to answer it
okay,
properly.
okay. See, drowsy means sleepy, okay? Someone who is feeling sleepy, who wants to sleep, right? Okay?
Yeah, ma'am. If I use the word like down, will it be okay?
If you use
Down,
the word drown,
down,
down.
down. Yes, ma'am.
No, see, no, that has another meaning, Sharmin. It is drowsy, drowsy. It means sleepiness, okay? जब नींद आती है किसी को तो उसको
Okay.
drowsy कहते हैं, drowsiness, ठीक है? मतलब
Yes.
नींद आने के स्टेट में, ठीक है? Getting the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see these
Ji.
lines. But such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make of hammered gold and gold enameling. Enameling means shaping the gold, okay, into bangles or earrings, etc. To keep a drowsy emperor awake. These three lines are very important. Why? Because these three lines tell us about the powerful, about the power that the ancient civilization, the ancient culture of Byzantium has. These three lines say that even a common man, even a goldsmith, who makes the jewelries of gold, he used to be so imaginative, so creative. His art form in the form of gold jewelries, golden structures, they were so powerful that they even kept the emperor, the king, the monarch, the head of the country, the king used to stay awake. Although the king used to feel drowsy, he wanted to sleep, but he could not sleep because of the power that was there in the goldsmiths. Goldsmith is a person who makes jewelries out of gold, okay? Because the goldsmith had the power to keep the emperor awake with his art. Okay, so this is the power of the city of Byzantium, that even the goldsmith, the artist, was so powerful in his art form, in his imagination and creativity, that the king was also not able to sleep whole night because of it, because he was so much attracted towards the art. Okay. Now, the last thing that you have to remember is, or what is past or passing or to come. The last line is very important. It's a short line and easy to remember, which you should try to quote in your exam. Or what is past or passing or to come. Because this last line talks about the past, the present, and the future. This last line sums up the entire poem Sailing to Byzantium by W.B. Yeats, because this line talks about the past, means the old age, old people, old men, how they are neglected by the young people, the old civilization, the old culture of Byzantium, and any other old civilization which is neglected by the young people, or what is passing means the present time. The present time, how the poet in his old age, the poet in the present time is passing, or what is past and passing in the present time, something that is passing in the mind of the poet. He is memorizing the, he is remembering the rich cultural heritage of Byzantium and all other old people, old poets and philosophies, and which is yet to come means about the future. Okay, he is invoking, he wants the future, he wants the future generation, the future institutions to remember the old institutions, old monuments, and the old poets and philosophers. So this last line becomes very important because it talks about the past, past generation, past civilization, present memory of the past civilization, and the future hope. Okay, the poet is hopeful that the future generation, of the generation what is coming, what is yet to come, will remember the beauty of the past civilization, of the history. Okay, so this is Sailing to Byzantium. This poem is based heavily on myths and legends. It talks about the legend of the Byzantium city, the civilization, and other human beings, other legends, uh, great persons and poets who are, although they are dead, they are old, but they should be remembered. Okay, so remember, this last line is very important here. Also, yeah, some quotes from the critics are important as I am showing on the screen. Remember this, you may write it down if necessary. John Crow Ransom is a modernist critic who has said about the poem Sailing to Byzantium that it is a prayer. Okay, it is a prayer addressed to the holy sages. Sages means sage. Sage means a holy person. Holy person. Okay, like a saint, sadhu, sant. Okay, so that is sage. So John Crow Ransom, a critic,
Okay.
has said, yeah, he has said that this is a prayer poem. Sailing to Byzantium is a prayer poem. It is a prayer to the young generation. Okay, it is a prayer to the people that they should remember the holy sages, the saints. The prayer is addressed to holy sages, whom dwell I know not where. Okay, who live somewhere, but I don't know because they were very old people. They belong to old civilizations like Byzantium. It does not seem to matter where, for they seem qualified to receive the prayer. Well, John Crow Ransom said, well, it does not matter where those great men, the great poets, the great saints, the great philosophers lived. But what matters is that they deserve the dignity, the qualification, they have the qualification, they should be dignified, and they deserve our prayer, our heartfelt prayer, our request to remain with us till the time immemorial. Okay, no matter where the civilization is gone, it is our duty, and we request, we pray the civilization to keep its value, to keep its to keep its richness present with us, to keep its beauty for the future generation. Right, so this is John Crow Ransom's quote which you should remember. Then Clint Brooks is yet another modernist poet, a critic, who said Yeats chooses both, neither. Okay, Yeats chooses idealism and materialism. Okay, idealism, why? Because Yeats is talking about an ideal situation of Byzantium which is not real right now, which was real during ancient times, but now it is not there. So Yeats is talking about an ideal situation, but he is choosing materialism. How materialism? Because he is talking about the present situation, the things which are present, like the young people of the present situation. Okay, so Clint Brooks has said that Yeats is choosing between idealism and materialism. So that's it about Sailing to Byzantium. Any question about the poem?
Yes, ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, what will be the symbolic spirituality of this poem?
Symbolic spirituality of this poem, right? Okay, so this poem is
Yes, ma'am.
spiritual. Spiritual. Why? Remember, in the very first stanza, I said that this poem is about the old man, right? And look at the second
Yeah,
stanza.
civilization.
Soul clap its hand. Yeah, again it talks about the old age, but in the third line it says, soul clap its hand and sing louder song. Okay, it should be song. So the soul, this line is talking about the soul, the spirit. Okay, the poet says that the old man is old, he is weak, the old civilization is gone, it is dead, only till the point that our inner spirit is not awakened. The point when we start remembering, the point when we start thinking about the old civilization or the old people, that is the point when the old civilization comes back into existence. Okay, so this is the
Okay.
spirituality which is there in the poem, because spirituality is shown as an important element in the poem by the poet, as spirituality is the instrument, it is the mode, it is the method through which the old civilization, the old legends, the old poets and philosophers, the old culture of Byzantium can be relived, it can be memorized, it can take a rebirth amongst the present generation. That is the spiritual element in the poem.
Means,
And
ma'am, I can also add that in the second stanza,
hmm,
it's the way of materialistic.
in the second stanza, it is a materialistic symbol also, because it
Yeah.
talks about the coat and stick. These are the materials, right? Objects. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
spiritual, because the poet is talking about the soul. The soul clap its hand. Okay. Means the spirit, the spirituality.
Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Next question is central theme of the poem, sailing to Byzantium, explaining what it's meant by the phrase that is monuments of amazing intellect. Yeah, this one, ma'am.
Okay. Read it again.
The first stanza.
No, read the question, the
Um,
first line of the question.
yeah. The central theme of the poem. Discuss
Okay,
the
okay, okay.
central theme of the poem.
Yeah, I
Sailing.
got it. I got it, Sharmin. So, what is the central theme? You tell me first. What you have made out.
Central theme is civilization,
And
materialistic symbol,
civilization and
materialistic symbol. Isn't it, ma'am?
it is about civilization, but it is about the
Hello.
value. It is about the value of civilization, about the historical importance, and how the young generation is forgetting the old civilization. So the poet is requesting the present generation not to forget the old civilization and the old men, old people, because they were really beautiful in terms of their imagination and creativity. And the poet is telling that the young generation should remember them and try to preserve the value, the beauty of the old civilizations like Byzantium. Okay, this is the central theme. And in while writing the answer, you should remember to quote these lines which are highlighted on the screen. Okay.
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 Yeah.
So Sharmin, in the we'll discuss other things in the next class. Okay. As of now, I call it a day, and in the next class we'll discuss more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. When the next class can be happen?
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Okay. And that will be the, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so.
Okay.
Time will be the same.